All right, so let's move on to some gaming news. And fortunately or unfortunately, we're back to talking about Microsoft's uh, hopeful acquisition of Activision Blizzard. So last we talked about this, the Microsoft had basically won all of their fights against the FTC in the United States. And when they did that, the UK Competition and Markets Authority, the UK CMA, decided, okay, I guess we can reevaluate this. And so Microsoft this week put out a new option where, maybe we should first address what they were even doing. So the UK, their biggest complaint and reason for blocking this merger was that they felt like if Microsoft acquired Activision Blizzard, it would give them essentially monopolistic power over cloud game streaming services. When we talked about this back in the spring when this was announced, I thought this was laughable. The cloud gaming subscription service market is really not all that big right now. Will it eventually get big? Yes. Microsoft having Activision Blizzard isn't going to be the thing, though, that causes Microsoft to win that race. They're doing well because they have lots of games to offer, and Microsoft Azure, a fully built out first tier cloud infrastructure service. So that's why they're going to win, or at least be one of the top providers in this space for many years to come. But regardless, that is what the UK based most of their argument on. So Microsoft came back this week and said, all right, we're going to make a deal here. For Activision Blizzard games specifically, Microsoft submitted that they would transfer all game streaming deals, licenses, all of that stuff of those specific games to Ubisoft for the next 15 years once this deal closes. So that means that if Call of Duty were to come to a cloud game streaming service, it would actually be Ubisoft that's licensing what streaming services get it. Does NVIDIA GeForce Now get it? Well, it'd be up to Ubisoft, who also has their own cloud game streaming service. So it's an interesting option. And again, it only impacts Activision Blizzard games. This doesn't have any real impact on Xbox Game Pass. It doesn't have any real impact on what games are or are not on Xbox cloud game streaming, other than Activision Blizzard games like Call of Duty and Overwatch and things like that. Ubisoft would be in control of what other game streaming services get licenses to offer those games. It sounds like a pretty good option to me. It solves the problem that the UK originally put out there. There's another new problem with that, though. See, back when this deal was trying to be approved by the EU, the European Union, Microsoft had to make a similar concession to them. So when the EU reviewed it, what Microsoft said was, okay, really what the EU told Microsoft that they would need to do is that Microsoft would be required to license Activision Blizzard games on all competing game streaming services globally, everywhere. The EU, the UK, the US, everywhere. And so these two options don't really work together. So the EU is pointing that out now And so there's going to have to be some negotiation on this one also to make sure that the EU is still cool with this acquisition. At the end of the day, I still think that all of the parties involved here come to an agreement and this thing gets finalized before the October deadline. So hopefully we're only talking about this for another couple of months tops. And then extra hopefully, that means that when Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 comes out in November, it's on Game Pass, and I don't have to pay for any more Call of Duty games outside of my Xbox Game Pass subscription. That's, of course, what I'm really hoping for.